Hello everyone, my name is Amber Ferger and today I'll be presenting Group Project 3 for CUNY DATA620 Web Analytics, the Summer 2020 session. My group members are Misha Kalantai, Zach Alexander, and Suba Rout. So this week's assignment was pretty simple. We had to split the names corpus from the NLTK packages into three subsets, a test set, a dev test set, and then a training set. And then we had to design a classifier to predict whether a name was a female name or a male name. So first we're importing our data here. We can see that we have a pretty imbalanced data set. We have about 5,000 female names and 2,900 male names. We'll kind of talk about that point a little bit later on in the presentation, but that is something to note now. The first thing we're going to do is just shuffle the names so that we don't have all female names and all male names at each side of the data set. And then we'll define our original features. So the ones we chose to start out with were the last letter of the name, the first letter of the name length, the number of vowels in the name, and the number of consonants. So this will serve as our base feature set for our original model. And then we'll split our training set or our data into a training set, a development test set, and then a test set. The training set will be used to actually fit the model. The dev test set will be used to glean the original accuracy of the model, and then the test set will be used to define the ultimate overall accuracy of the model. Our original model is going to be using a naive Bayes classifier, so we're going to once again predict the gender of the name. In this type of model, each feature gets a say in determining which label should be assigned to the given name. And then the probability is calculated for each name, and the contribution from each feature is combined with this probability to arrive at a likelihood estimate for each label. So we can see that our original naive Bayes classifier predicts our training set at a 78.2% accuracy rate. We can also visualize the most informative features in our original model. We can see that the last letter of the name seems to make a huge impact on the overall prediction, as well as the number of vowels in the name. We'll also define a function to calculate the number of errors that were associated with this model, and we can see that the original model had 109 distinct errors. Finally, we can see the original errors based on each specific name. Here is an output of the top 10 names in the model that were predicted inaccurately. So we can see here that this person was predicted as a female, they're actually a male, and the name is M. Based on this, we decided to revamp our feature set. First, we decided to create a model that included 3 additional features. The first was the last 2 letters of the name. The second was the first 2 letters of the name. And then the third was just if there were any double letters, so example, a TT, an II, anything like that, the presence of those double letters. And we can see that when we fit our model again on the training set and then predict on the dev test set that our accuracy actually increases to 82%, which is really awesome, and the number of errors decreases to 90. Our third and final model incorporated a few different consonant counts and vowel counts. This was based on some research that we found which discovered a relationship between female names and male names with certain letters. So what we're doing is we're defining features that are associated with each of those. And then we're calculating the overall accuracy and number of errors. It's interesting to note that our accuracy actually decreases from Model 2 to Model 3 from 82% to 81%, and the number of errors increases from 90 to 95. And this is really important to note because adding more features doesn't necessarily increase the overall performance of the models. In fact, it could potentially be that our training set is overfit to the features that we've chosen. And finally, we can evaluate the overall accuracy of each of our models. We can see here that as we go from Model 1 to Model 3, our development accuracy increases first and then decreases. And then our test accuracy consistently increases from the first to the third model. This is expected. We use our development test set in order to make the tweaks to the model. The test set, the reason why the accuracy is lower is because the model has never seen those names before. So this is brand new unclassified data. Based on these results, we end up choosing Model 3 as our final model, simply because it performs the best in our test accuracy on that unknown data. Now, one thing that we noted is that although the accuracy overall is increasing, we wanted to see if there were any gender-specific discrepancies between males and females. So what we've done is we've defined a function to calculate the gender-specific accuracies. And we can see that on our final model, it's kind of imbalanced, right? We see 83% of the females are being identified appropriately, but the males are only at 76%. And this is likely due to the fact that our original training set has a pretty imbalanced male-female ratio. So we have 63% females versus 37% males. So that could likely be, the model could be overfit and trained to identify the female names better than the males. So what we've chosen to do is see if those accuracies change as a result of undersampling and oversampling the data. So we're balancing the training set so that the male and female population are about 50-50. We've defined a function here that will input a training set, the names, and then whether you'd like the data to be under or oversampled. And we can see what the effect of undersampling the female set is. In this case, we're removing some of those female names from the training set so that we're balancing out the male names with the female names. The accuracy stays about the same. We're at about 80%. What's interesting, though, is that the gender-specific accuracies start to balance out. So we see that females are now at 78% and males are at 81%, which flopped since the last time. If you remember, the females were higher than the males, and now the males are higher than the females. We can see a similar result from oversampling the male set. In this set, we are arbitrarily choosing a certain number of male names to supplement the original training set with so that we're balancing the female and male names. The accuracy overall is remaining at about 80%, and then again we see that the female-male split in gender-specific accuracies are more balanced. So what we've gleaned from this is that by under or oversampling our data set so that we balance the male and female ratios, we maintain a similar overall accuracy, but our gender-specific accuracies are balancing out, which is great because when we're predicting these names, we don't want to predict males or females at a higher rate. We'd like them to be about even. Another thing that we thought might have influenced the results was the random seed that we chose to split the data. This could potentially result in an imbalance in the original training set. So what we've done here is to find a function to calculate the overall accuracy as well as the undersampled and oversampled accuracy based on different seeds. And you can see that there's a decent amount of variety within the different seeds. We have anywhere from below 80% to above 85% depending on the random seed chosen. So that was important to keep in mind as well. Finally, we chose to do one additional model, which was a maximum entropy classification. This is similar to a naive Bayes classifier. In this case, the higher entropy means that we have a better classification algorithm. So we can see here that on our first, second, and final feature sets, we increase our accuracy for the development set, and we also are increasing our accuracy for the test set. So overall, what we've done with this project is we've created two different classifiers, a naive Bayes classifier and a maximum entropy classifier, to predict the gender of a given name from a names corpus. We've split the data into training, development tests, and test sets in order to tweak the model and ultimately figure out what the final accuracy was. We've used a bunch of different features. Some are the number of vowels, the presence of double letters, the number of consonants, ultimately to arrive at a model that yields about 80% accuracy overall. By undersampling and oversampling, we were able to even out that gender-specific discrepancy between the accuracies. And altogether, this our names corpus was able to predict an 80% accuracy rate. Thank you.